Welcome, beloved hearts, into the loving embrace of the divine. I would like to invite you to bring your awareness to your heart, where we can truly connect as one. I am Katrina Armstrong, and I stand before you today as a testament to the power of the divine. I embarked on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth, all of which has birthed the alchemical movement that is Divinity in Action, that I am ecstatic to share with you here. Allow us to guide you through the wisdom of our esteemed leaders and uncover the secrets of the universe to unlock your true potential, as I had done in my life when I embraced the Christ consciousness and ascended into higher expressions of my soul potential. I'll share with you the teachings and wisdom that have helped me to transcend from my earthly bounds and realize the true expression of my soul. I'll be joined by some of the most compassionate and authentic spiritual leaders worldwide who also experience divinity in action. Allow us to share our insights and experiences. I invite you to join me on this journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth. Together we'll break free from past programming and conditioning and fully embrace our true selves. Join me in welcoming Solara Rose. Solara is liquid radiance in human form. She has a rare ability to entrance, whip-smart, spiritually adept, and high-achieving magical people into reaching life-altering levels that even they were unable to fully envision as possible for themselves. One timeless, immaculate moment in Solara's field inevitably leads to the most extraordinary, luxurious thing an individual can experience in a lifetime. Divine identity, mastery within a brave, brand new world, all of their own making. Solara's clients step away from her miracle matrix, fully expressed in genius, dripping in success, exquisitely powered to share their beauty, brilliance, and gifts with the world. Oh, what an honor to be here. Truly a delight. I'm feeling so much joy, so much ecstasy rising within me as we connected and began to prepare for this space, for this beautiful conversation you're bringing through, Solara, on boundless love. What the depths of love. I look forward to diving into this and hearing and feeling, and already so much that is coming forward for the hearts that are connecting in with us right now. So just want to take a moment to breathe into the space that's being created here as Solara opens us up in the understanding of what boundless love is.
Oh, I'm so grateful to be here in this space with you, with everyone, with the energy of self, of love, of life, of light, pure genius, pure love. So when I feel into, when I be boundless love, I mean, what this really represents in my being and how I uniquely experience it as my total quantum body and organic energy signature is just a complete boundless opening into the infinite, the fundamental gnosis and gnost of self that love is, truth is, life is, all that is, and love's presence truly at the core of, you know, all the beautiful intricate layers of the mind and of Maya. Love's presence is the only presence operating in any given moment, everywhere simultaneously at once. And when we really allow ourselves to lean back, deepen, soften, open, expand, melt our walls and our borders and our boundaries and allow ourselves to truly become boundless, we open into absolute clarity, absolute enlightenment, total freedom. We liberate our flow of genius, of power, of peace, of creative fertility, of superabundance, of life's miracle at every single level and octave of beingness. So we really grant ourselves access to our full power and the majestic treasures and gifts of this life that so diligently desire to reach us.
Yeah, as I feel into the space of boundless love, it brings up this question of how do we reach that? How is it that
Mm.
one can begin, touching into boundless love? And how does this work with how we're designed?
So beautiful. We're actually this exquisitely gentle, soft, yet simultaneously almighty powerful, sophisticated, super sentient intelligence. We are designed to be operating from organic, enlightened awareness. And so this is the core. This is part perceptual and part somatic, but primarily somatic, that arises from our perceptual awareness. And the immediate access point for all of us is through the virtue of our breath, of centering into the peace, the calm, the rhythm of our natural heartbeat, the cadence of our being, the Tao. It's really the rhythm of life that is moving through us in any moment. And it's so apparent in the functionality of our body. What is my organic heartbeat? Can I just lean back for a moment and take a few deep breaths and just savor the frequency of pure quintessence, pure breath moving and oscillating through my body, quieting the mind, softening, opening and expanding our energetic body, our energetic fields, which then expands the DNA, which releases light intelligence to our conscious mind, which is where the epiphany and revelation of self is revealed to us in our conscious awareness. It really is this practice of unwinding, uncoiling the DNA, softening, relaxing. It's like a beautiful spa.
Yeah.
Being immersed in a heavenly spa, and really also this core awareness that the interconnected ecosystem of life itself is designed to operate symbiotically to flourish and support all other aspects of creation. So a beautiful analogy for this is, a fruit tree does not savor its own fruit, and rain showers do not saturate their own soils. Like, we're designed to flourish one another and to also reap the harvest of all life. So when we can melt into what I uniquely experience as, the feather bed or the rose bed of creation, and know that I am supported by all life. I am cherished and treasured and adored and cared for intrinsically by all life. I am safe. I am held. I am provided. There's a freedom in that. There's a safety, a stability, a security that comes. And that lightness of being gives way to what the purest quintessence of rapture is, where we're opened into the all and we're allowing for the totality to support us. And so immediate access through the breath, and it really is a practice of just opening. If we could just focalize that one practice, I'm going to practice being open to life, having a trust in all of life, trusting that only God comes towards me, only love comes towards me, only source energy comes towards me. We start to liberate ourselves from all of these self-imposed limitations and points of resistance and contraction that we hold in our field based on perceptual patterns of fear based in past experiences, our history, our lineage, our societal conditioning, our own self-perpetuated conditioning. We just organically start to dissolve and vaporize those energetics so that our divine template can really inhabit our total vessel and embodiment.
Wow, Solara, you're speaking so much here. And when you brought us to that place of this soft, what I heard was this innocence, this space of being in that innocence, yet power. And I see power as innocence. And this place that you're speaking about, that we can move to or be able to remember or operate and understand the interconnectedness of it all through the breath. It brings me deeper into how do we cultivate that? I love that you shared that it unravels the DNA when we're able to maintain or be able to continuously return back. That, all of those ways that we protect ourselves, or the part of us that is that powerful, is the most sensitive and the most connected, that understands how to operate here. And this is the space that we're touching into here. It feels as if this ability to unravel the DNA is key. It's a key place to be developing. Is this true?
Absolutely. Our DNA codex contains the infinite information of the whole. It's where we have access to absolute, total, complete, all knowledge, all wisdom, all understanding, all comprehension of self, our purest love, our infinite power, our inexhaustible spring of energy and vitality and vibrance. It's all beheld within our DNA codex, and it requires this softening from us. And I'm hearing, do not allow the world to make you hard, too hard in your heart. There are a plethora of belief constructs that can be presented to us on a liquid continuum, contingent upon what we're connecting into and what we're devoting our awareness to trust your inner knowing. I love that you brought it back to the space of innocence, the innocence of a child, virginal consciousness and presence in the now, knowing that it's always God self to God self, source to source, love to love, and that it's safe to open into that and to soften into that space. And, HeartMath does an exquisite job at purveying the science of heart-mind coherence. And they speak into the energetics of what it is to relax our DNA. So when we relax our body, we come to a space of peace. It's like, we've given up the resistance, we've given up the fight, and we just, okay, I give it to love. I let go. And we soften and we return to the sacred chalice and temple of our heart. We just place our hands on our heart and we breathe and we connect back into that space of, I am safe, I am held, I trust life. Then the body relaxes, the DNA relaxes, and that's the space where all of the generative fertility and epiphany of self begins to actually release into the somatic body and all the way up into our conscious awareness and our upper chakras. And we, experience the proliferation of that through our total embodiment. And we each contain this within ourselves. We all contain the infinite awareness of self. It is not separate from us. It is not somewhere out there in some other being or philosophy or ideology. It's directly encoded in our DNA.
Absolutely. I'm also, as you're speaking, feeling this. Like, how do we define or navigate our reality? How do we see truth and the power of this coming into this coherence? And I speak a lot about resonance that comes from coherence that allows for us to know what's true for us, what is showing up in our reality, and how to navigate here. And I feel like we're also kind of touching the borders here, or the area of where it is humanity is going. Well, and it could be easy to go there, but I feel like coming back into this, our divine identity. Like, how do we identify ourselves, from here? Because I think that's a big fear. And I know in my work, the releasing of identities. Well, who are we if we're this ever flowing, ecstatic being that is in love with life and so interconnected? And well, who are we?
This is such a sacred and tender space, because in the odyssey of opening into pure, resonant, boundless beingness, the truth of self, all of our finite personality identifications and constructs will naturally and organically dissolve out of our system. And the ease and grace of that process is entirely contingent upon how quickly we surrender into it. The more swiftly we surrender into the process of our greatest evolution into superabundance, the more rapidly and easefully we calibrate. When we're in resistance to letting go of who we have fashioned or molded or perceived ourselves to be, that may not potentially be the ultimate truth of us, we can create resistance and challenge in our field and our experience. And so the invitation is to always surrender into grace when we're experiencing these calibrations and evolutions into the wider self. And one of the ways that I have established intimacy with this intelligence in my own being is simply through the inquiry into, well, what is the nature of what I know and what we all know pure, benevolent, holy, sanctified love to be? What is the nature of that intelligence? What is the nature of my being as God? And what arises for me, there's many words to purvey the infinite, but it's just benevolence, gentleness, unconditional, constant, everlasting, immortal love, resonance, grace, peace, ease, pure power, prolific prosperity. It's a life-giving, enhancing intelligence. And so I just focalize the cultivation of intimacy with that identity because it is indomitable and it is immortal. So it is not going to waver. It is within my own being, the core of me, the heart of me, the centrifuge of power within my vehicle. That is my space and place of orientation to my truth of my divine identity. This is who I actually am. And this is the truth of me that I know and that I accept. And this is the only truth that I accept about myself. And so it creates an internal integrity that that can move with us from incarnation to incarnation because it's not based upon, I am, how we might relate to our bodies or these roles or archetypes that we create through our lives that are temporary in their nature. It's finding the permanence within that which is transient and temporary.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful dance. And I feel right now, all of those that are listening in, having this opportunity, I could feel the releasing of the holds of identities as you were speaking. I could feel that it's, it is possible to create from this depth, from this place, this remembrance of who we are from a very core level. And I know that quite a bit of my journey around resonance has been witnessing, the developing out of that, the templating, of, now that this is available, what are we? What do we choose to create with this? And it is infinite and it can feel, almost for the mind, I find, and you can let me know if this is true for you, Solara, but it can be tricky for the mind to connect in with that because it wants to compartmentalize it, or it wants it to have some identity or some way to place it. And when we're working with boundless love, you're looking at something that we have to be able to communicate with it and let it speak back to us. It's like we're actually in a relationship with it. Is this true for you in your journey?
Oh, absolutely. One of the master codes that I have in my field is just simply, I listen. One, I allow the quintessence of love to operate throughout people, places, beings, things, and experiences, all intelligences, all formations. So I'm always listening for the self when I'm in communion with life, with nature, with people. And so every moment has this, magic and majesty to it because I'm always imbuing myself with a sacred message or some wisdom, and I'm always in that relationship. And I feel the greatest challenge for the mind, which is where all resistance is generated, is primarily, and Eckhart Tolle speaks into this. He says to focalize the cultivation of non-resistance, non-judgment, and non-attachment. So I feel the mind's attachment to form and identity is what can create the greatest amount of obstruction because in that, so there's an invitation into a deeper trust. That essence of what we're truly desiring to experience can come through any and all formations. It's not limited to one portal, one pathway, one person, one experience, one situation. It can arise for us in an infinite amount of ways. And so to liberate ourselves from the attachment of form is profoundly liberating. And I find it's like where our greatest liberation rests and also where our greatest fear is because we associate that satisfaction and that freedom and fulfillment with a specific form. But if we can just allow it through the all, we will be just dazzled, from head to toe with what we create a space to allow to show up for us.
I love what you spoke of as your master code here, this ability to be engaging with life. And I just get the sense of it being ever so in flow to where there's no attachments, there's no nothing, and just being in this dance, almost like a symphony with life. And I resonate greatly with that in my experience of navigating. But when we look at this destiny of ours, of this superabundance, of having infinite, connection to all of these different possibilities and trusting. I feel like trust is a big piece here, trusting that it's always aligning for you. It's always syncing, computing exactly what's perfectly in resonance with you. And this release of, all of the, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? It's like, there's really no space for that in this field. it's like it doesn't operate that way. So in your journey with making this kind of shift into boundless love, what is the thing that you find holds most people?
What holds most people?
From fully opening and making this connection and allowing themselves come into this destiny.
Resistance patterns, and also a belief in a separate self and an other, in a duality of some form or fashion, where there is myself and there is other, and other may or may not be God. And if other is not God, then I have to protect from other, which creates, the illusion and the contraction that arises from separation. But really, we're inevitably, imminently, constantly, we're in one, we're whole. That divine design that you speak of, constantly calibrating and computing, is perfectly architecturally designed to fundamentally operate in our favor always. And so I would say the constructs of the mind that create a duality, a polarity, a resistance, or a mistrust in life are the things that primarily can hold us back from that opening. Is it safe to open? Is it really safe to open into knowing, trusting, knowing that this is all God, this is all love? And is that naive of me to believe that? There's so many layers of that to go into, but really, in the most simplistic sense, it's a belief in a dual or separate self that may not be love, but may be representing some facet of our own deep unconscious. And so really the only thing that there is to fear is the contents of our own mind, And so I feel really the core of it too is safety. The consciousness has to feel safe to fully land in the somatic body. And if we don't feel a sense of safety and security to be in this body, to be on this earth, to be in the gorgeous dance of this life, then that is a space and place of practice and self-reassurance. I love the way that I work directly with my own system is precisely as I would with a newborn child. That depth of devotional, tender reverence and sweetness and sacredness and reassurance when there are those spaces and places of sensitivity, because it does feel sensitive to open into our indomitable power until it, becomes robust and integral and strong, because we've practiced inhabiting ourselves fully. We've allowed ourselves to inhabit ourselves fully. We do have these spaces where it can feel tender, and it usually arises when we're in the midst of a challenging experience where we are experiencing the intensity of our unconscious presenting itself to the mirror of our reality, whether through a situational experience or through a relational experience. In those moments where we want to, stand up, we want to take a stance, are the precise moments where the requirement is to surrender into grace. And so it can be, it's the greatest opportunity that we have, actually.
I love you bringing it back to the surrender, right back into that. And I know in my walk, and something that continuously comes up for so many people is just surrender, just release it. What are you holding on to? What are you holding together? What is it actually going to become? Letting it form anew. So being in this, and I feel that has a lot about returning back to being these creator beings. We're realizing, oh wow, we actually have, way more power and abilities and keys than we realized. And so this journey you're taking us on, I just keep feeling it pointing us back to the core of us, back to this beautiful, sensitive, powerful part, this indomitable part of us that, it can't be, pushed or hurt or any of these things can happen to it. So this journey of strengthening that and allowing it to ever expand. I can feel this occurring on the call and the invitation to everyone here to be in that space, especially right now as everything is morphing and really shifting to accommodate that divine identity of who we are. I would love to go into any insights or areas that you feel is unique to right now for those that are these highly sensitive beings that are shifting with the earth in this way.
Yeah, I really appreciate you. I heard the question in a new light when you reflected back the holding, and what feels really valuable to bring through in that space as well is what most beings are holding is time in Maya. And it's that simple. We're holding the past and we're holding the future and not necessarily allowing our full flow in the moment. So when we liberate our mind from time and we enter into omnipresence, omnipotency, omniscience, truly omnipresence in this moment, omniluminosity, we liberate ourselves from those barriers of time. We enter into the timeless, boundless realm of self where we have access to the freedom and the infinite possibility. And, we I would say as a humanity, but really at the depths of this, there's a recognition, a deep, deep, deep space and place in our own being that I am the world. And so as my internal collective of consciousness calibrates to oneness, my entire outer collective consciousness calibrates to oneness. I am the sole operant power of my destiny, my reality, my world, and my realm on an infinite grand scale. And so at a certain place and space of awareness, even the collective dissolves back into the self within ourselves. And so we also liberate ourselves from paradigms of, forecasts and projections of what is going on in the world and what is going on in the collective. And we bring it back home to our own internal consciousness, awareness, and heart coherence of what state and place of being am I choosing to operate from in this moment. And the moment that I resolve my inner collective, I resolve my total collective. So there can be this dance, and I experience this still. I haven't anchored into that space in its entirety. The awareness is prominent and occupies a significant portion of my awareness and my embodiment, though there still can be this dance of, I am fully enlightened, realized, actualized, and I'm playing in a collective that may or may not be fully enlightened, actualized, realized in their God self identity, which then creates this dance of there being a mission, a purpose, a service. When we're really realized in our wholeness, all of that dissolves. There is no mission. There is no intrinsic purpose other than joy and splendor and pure creation and pure expansion. All of that dissipates in our oneness inside of ourselves. And so establishing that internally, really only a few people on the face of this beautiful planet are required to actuate that. If we're playing in the realm of both of those paradigms operating in simultaneity with one another, it really only requires one God self-actualized being to calibrate the whole collective. And that's the power and the profundity and the indomitability of that resonance. It is so unwavering in its accord that it is an organic invitation for all energy to open into accord with it. It's a natural command field. It doesn't have to do anything except be itself. And that's where all energy in life is headed. It's the immanence of destiny itself. And when we establish that inside of our own being, we free our world.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. Just breathing that in, breathing in that oneness and all of the collective being within. And this field, this space of oneness, I can also use the phrases of being neutrality, within this seeming polarities. Right? Walking through the world in such a space that it's allowing everything around you. So the other part of this is realizing, when you realize, as you said, one person can hold it for all, and how powerful that is. And I know in the anchoring of that, and still the dance that we're doing, I really appreciate you sharing that, Solara, that and I come back to this. And oh, well, what would it be like? I just have this sense of that's part of the gift that we have, right? To get to experience that, because being fully one, I know within my essence, and anchoring that and holding that and operating, wow, what a gift it is that I've got to experience life from all these different vantage points.
Yes. Yeah. It really is so beautiful because it allows us to really establish a depth of warmth and heart coherency with other beings, because we're all infinite sources occupying different positionalities and points of orientation within the context of the infinite self. And so it's just this opportunity for us to explore all these facets of choice and possibility and consciousness with one another. Well, what is your orientation in this moment? And, at that grand grand octave of oneness, we're just experiencing the luminous, sacred, orgasmic flowering of life's miracle. Like, that's all that's happening in that space. It's just seamless. It's a seamless flowering. It's so beautiful. And there's all these other different choice points that we have in any given moment. There's the novelty of infinite creation. It's not necessarily the destination. You know, I would say pure love, oneness in love is not even destination. It's who we be. And it's the ultimate requirement, you know, to experience absolute rival in this body, in this life, and enrichment and fulfillment. There's all these different ways that we can choose to navigate. And I love that you brought it back to allowing, because this is how I fundamentally move through life. I'm in a constant space of allowing, which for me feels like, and I'm going to tie this into the electromagnetic coherent currents of pure flow. The leaned back allowing is what we would typically consider more of the feminine, magnetic, open, receptive space of, you know, drinking from the wellspring, receiving life through the all, receiving love through the all. And that gives rise to an organic inspiritus, an inspiration, a compelling, organic creative force that allows us to emanate and gift our brilliance, our genius, our love, our emanation to the world. And it's this infinity spiral. That is more of the space of the electric, just more of the conscious masculine facets of our being, the creative, the beaming light, you know, and there at some point that flow of that infinity spiral, the magnetic electric currents become so unified and coherent that we're able to occupy both simultaneously. And that's the space and place of flow that we're ultimately desiring to synchronize with in the core of our chalice. It's both happening, you know, in tandem with one another. And it's this dance, right? It's this beautiful dance that we're doing with creation at that point. And so I feel like part of the journey is just really remembering how to dance.
I love that you brought it back to the earth. Some of my deepest, richest, most beautiful experiences of this life have been in service to the earth and getting to be in the dance that you're speaking about, and this continuous fulfilling opportunity that we have, that we can just connect right in there to support us with aligning this, you know, as we're navigating and what I see as integrating, you know, higher aspects or composites or parts of our consciousness that's coming into the body. I mean, wow, what a miraculous time we're in, that we get to have this here in the physical body, experiencing life.
Absolutely. I mean, it is this gorgeous, exquisite flowering and blossoming from within, you know, all of this. The total integration of self exists within our DNA. And that's why I also always bring it back to the opening as the fundamental practice, because it's all arising from within us. It's all blooming, just like any other gorgeous facet of nature. You know, there's a seed that contains the blueprint, the codex for the grand becoming of, you know, the oak tree, of the grapevine, of any aspect of nature, of animals, of us. And so we're literally in our opening, we're allowing the seed to bloom and to blossom and to give rise to our total potential. And it's all contained within these sacred, holy, beautiful instruments of our body. And so, you know, the body is the earth, you know, the consciousness blooming from the DNA is what we may consider heaven, is pure consciousness. The body is the earth. And so having our visceral somatic body coherently in coherent accord with pure awareness is the personification of heaven on earth. And it's happening in our cells, our molecules, our photons.
Yes. Wow. Ooh, just taking a moment as you were speaking that, I could feel just this beautiful transmission, this opportunity, this opening, this invitation to feel the body, to feel what is opening, the connections that we have, what's always available for us. I'm just feeling all of that coming through so beautifully here. And as we prepare to kind of wrap up the space and allowing everyone to move away from here with all that they are to be receiving, I'm curious if there is any last thoughts or anything coming through for those that are being called forward to really answer this deeper calling, this invitation that they have to bring their genius to the world.
Yes, absolutely. You know, a foundational value of my entire service is sovereign self-sourcing, because in our sovereign unification with self internally, that gives rise to organic, collective, global synergy, which is how nature is designed to operate. And so I would love to encourage everyone here in this beautiful sacred space with us back home to the indomitable truth and infinite intelligence and knowingness and wisdom and awareness that resides in the core of your being. You have access to the infinite within your own being. There is nothing outside of you that you require to experience your wholeness, to trust yourself, to love yourself, to know and remember yourself as the ineffable Almighty, and to know all of this power is contained within your vessel, and that you can source your entire world, your entire reality from within, independent of externalities on all levels. And so to bring it back home to that sovereign self-sourcing, you are the infinite source, you are the operant power, you are the God self, divine, holy architect of your reality, of your world, and your greatest experience of destiny is going to arise from the place of and space of opening into that boundless love within you, because then your entire reality must mirror and match and echo the truth of your fully divine unified nature back to you. So bring it all back home to your heart, your being, your chalice, your temple, and to trust yourself, to trust your organic rhythms, your cadence, your flow, your knowingness, your awareness within. I feel that is the most valuable gift I can offer, is sacred leadership back home into your own self.
Ooh, what a powerful message. I'm feeling it vibrating down my host central channel, and I'm feeling how the earth is connecting into this message and really allowing for this beautiful flow of our beings. I'm getting this very strong vibration that is coming through me right now. And it feels like this invitation that you're offering here is really touching all the way down to the cellular level and opening, almost as if it's inviting the boundless love. So thank you so much. It is inviting boundless love. So thank you so much for all that you've shared here, the richness of it, the depth, the beauty, the grace, the knowing, the presence of you, the presence of all that is here, of each one of the hearts that have joined us in this moment. I know that this beautiful dance that we're in here together is interconnected and rippling and already creating potentials that maybe we didn't see. So thank you for your presence, for your love, for your message, and the gift of you.
I'm just drinking you in, sister. Yeah, thank you for your exquisite transmission of the sacred. So beautiful, so coherent, and filled with the bounty of pure grace, pure love, pure light. I receive your holy emanation. I thank you. It's been an honor and so deeply delightful to share in this sacred space today. And I know there's so much more for all of us. Of course, we're in this beautiful, sacred, romantic grand dance and playground of life together. And so, yeah, I'm excited for so much, all that is to come and all that is to unfold from this beautiful sacred moment forward.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And may you all move from here in the most beautiful dance of life. I as well look forward to hearing and seeing all that is birthed from this transmission. All right, sending love. Bye for now. Oh, beautiful hearts, let's take a moment here to breathe into yet another powerful message from our Divinity in Action alchemical movement. I hope you found the teaching shared in this episode to be enlightening and empowering. Also, that you will take space for yourself to work with what was offered for your discovery and growth. Once again, I invite you to unlock your divinity through the wisdom of our speakers and to harness this beautiful energy to your benefit that will increase abundance, clarity, and freedom in every aspect of your life. By experiencing divinity in action, we will break free from past programming and conditioning and fully embody our true selves.